this is another cyber call. Now we don't see here our founders. No master cyber, no cyber set. Hopefully they will come soon. But we can already start with something that I can, for example, present to you. Yesterday we had a noticeable event. What the event we had yesterday? Yesterday, together with a group of initiative validators, we held a stream about Sai, and we recorded this stream. Though this stream was recorded, was held in Russian, as it is very complicated for me to speak at the same time and show demo. And it's complicated even in Russia, but in English it's like impossible with good enough quality. So I decided to start with Russian, and this is what happened yesterday. Yesterday we download missing particles, download links. Yesterday we were talking about the possibilities of Sai, what Sai can do, and it was very, very cool 1 hour meeting. I hope that after several attempts, I will be able to translate this meeting into English, or maybe record a new one. So what I do now? Now I want to demonstrate you the progress about the Cyberlinks, about the graph that we have in the last 2 weeks, or even in the last 4 weeks since the previous year. As on previous call, I was not able to demonstrate this these stats, but let's do that now. Links graph df, this is the command that shows. Let me do one more thing here. Overlay, use overlay, hide Sai, Sai graph links df, and Sai graph stats. This is the new command that I did recently. And now we can see that our graph unfiltered from the very beginning, it has 347,000 links that were created from the 841 neuron. Also, we have about 200,000 of cyberlinks created by the contract. We can see the digits if about those cyberlinks if we include contracts, but yeah, I do not update them very often. They need some manual work on my side, so I do not rely on these statistics. It's a bit underestimated. But graph links df shows the real stats for now. So we have 347,000 cyberlinks created by the neurons. And overall, and let's check how many of them are DFR filter with timestamp. Timestamp, here we put the date. Today is the 11th, and the previous one, let's put here 12/24, 23 of December. I don't know, it's just some date that it popped up in my mind. And also we use the new command SciGraph stats, and we see now that 40 neurons were creating cyberlinks during that time. They created 43,000 cyberlinks overall. And we can see that there were 14 tweets and there were 14 follows. Some neurons followed other neurons, and there were 26 tweets overall. Also, we can check another stats, neuron stats command, and we can see that the leading provider of the cyberlinks during all that time, the huge amount of those cyberlinks were created by Cyber Academy account. Artem, you are in the top. On the second place, there is some neuron that I even don't know the address, the nickname yet. Let's check what his name look like. Passport get. Who is that? Oh, this neuron doesn't have a nickname. Probably it's something that creates links automatically, maybe even using Psi. And on the third place is a digital oppression with 500 cyberlinks. Congratulations, guys. I will start updating SciDict update minus passport minus karma. I will update the stats on karma and it will become available soon. And I think I can finish my presentation here and maybe be back to it if no founders were connected. No founders connected. We have our venerable source here, at least Master Cyp is here. And I think I can give him the right to voice, right to speak. Michael, was everything clear that I said during my presentation? Maybe you can correct me somehow. Can you? No? No, cannot. Okay. Master Cyp,
it's definitely, it's all clear, and yeah, no, it's clear.
Gotcha. Thank you. Master Cyp, would you like to say something to us?
Keep the flow.
Yes, why not? Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Actually, what I want to discuss now is that I already wrote in channels regarding our correction of drop mechanics. We analyze what happened with price, why it happened, and decide to start heavily optimize the drop. Currently, around 17% of total cyber drop was claimed. That means that we actually have the rest to optimize, which is not that bad. Someone in the channel asked why the price was like fallen so dramatically, and like the answer is simple. Like the first reason is that around 20% of, like, it's hard to know exactly, yeah, but according to our analysis and data mining, we got around 20%, which was claimed by farmers, the airdrop farmers, which is which dramatically affected the price. And the second one is that we came to conclusion that actually current mechanics doesn't solve our key problem, which we addressed initially with CyberDrop, because not all of whom claimed actually stake, even staking, not even not investment or get energy, but initial purpose of the CyberDrop was to get familiar with energy, so we decided to maybe radical solution, but we are sure that it will work in a good way for community, for a price, for the most important for involvement into the project, and we decided to either investment or so we decide during claim and release process, we decide to automatically stake on random validator. So actually everyone could choose any validator we wish afterwards. And gained hydrogen will be either investmented automatically to amperes and volts proportionally, and if CyberGift of particular user don't have enough for investmenting, it will just buy amperes and volts from the swap, from Warp DEX. And we already implemented this. We now testing it in, we have a pull request 1077, and probably in the following days, maybe even today, we will turn on this dynamics, and that means basically that investment amount will be perfectly locked for several years for maximum amount of and to each possible to investment, like 2.5 maybe right now, maybe 3. Yeah, and that gives actually interesting dynamics into the project, because we will have a very natural way and the demand for ampere and volts, because not every gift will be able to investment. And let's see what happens. It's anyway, it's experiment. Yeah, anyway, it's experiment. So this is like the first important change I would love to discuss. And the second one is that we started also discuss how we could distribute Pussy tokens. 96% from Genesis is still sitting at Cyber Congress multi-signature account, and I would remind that initially we thought that we will just airdrop them to Cosmos addresses, to like 11 networks, and we already did this state, we computed the state, but didn't implemented it. Didn't deploy it. Implemented, but didn't deploy it because we were not sure that's an optimal strategy. But currently we came to a conclusion that we don't want to make this airdrop to Cosmos community, because it's not that active and cannot understand currently what. It's not the best appropriate audience for this. And we decide that we will allocate these to rewards of Cybernet, experimental Cybernet contracts. Once they will be deployed, it will be done in 2 steps. The first step, we allocate 1% of Pussy to kind of test. It will be like in production, but it will be it must be clear that it will be a very experimental test network, testnet contract, but in production with some value, because it's actually hard to, almost impossible to test economical mechanics without some economical measures. And Space Pussy is cheap and do not involve high risks. So we will allocate on the first phase 1% for experimental set of contracts during free phase of testing. And when two things will happen, we will move this Cybernet contracts to Vostrom and redeploy. Or probably like technical things we are still discussion, but remaining 95% of Space Pussy tokens will be allocated to mining Cybernet and Space Pussy, which is beautiful because it will bring really cool dynamics into the network and add to our ecosystem one more beautiful experiment. An opportunity for content creators and professional machine learners to have a fair share in the Space Pussy network. So these are the news. Like there is one thing I'm working on, the third one I want to discuss. I'm not actually ready to show it yet, but we are heavily currently working on completely redesigning Cyber experience. And before that, our approach was to design one page at a time, which led to a lot of inconsistencies. But it was like a good solution because we just we just need to implement at least somehow the features to bootstrap the thing, to make them work at least for someone who is able to understand this. But now we redesigning it from top to down, and actually in Figma there is a concept for those who are interested in Figma. We have a concept page which aggregate all important user experience mechanics and pages, and currently it's just a concept. It's very dirty thing, and it will take several months before actually we will be able to say that it's kind of a design mockup. But yeah, we are heavily working on redesigning all the thing to make it consistent, to make it clear, to make it understandable, to make it full-blown Web3 browsing experience. I would love to use, for example, yeah, because even me, currently I am not actually heavily use Cypher because I stuck from like a lot of minor problems. I don't have features I need, simple things took a lot of time, etc. And so I am using it only when it's like very necessary, and not because I like go into the rabbit hole. Yeah, and the next level design is to give users actually this rabbit hole. What I want to show you is actually one screen, just to to give a taste. And this one is the robot page, and the big idea behind this the new robot page will be the central and the main page of the whole thing, which will be your visualization of the robot, depending on the vital parameters in the Cyberverse. So you will have, for example, size of this eye, which depends on the amount of sigma you have, amount of tokens you have. You will have amount of body, depending on how many data you are storing, and you will have this like light around, depending on the amount of karma you have, and like this small little eye which will display connection. And there is like I'm developing a system currently with levels, yeah, depending on different levels of vital parameters of robot. Every robot will have some level, like in role-play games. So that's basically a concept I want to show you. And like, yeah, the good thing that actually from one page, all features will be accessible. And that's the idea. That's all. Would love to answer questions after everyone who want say some news. Will say thank you for listening me.
Thank you, Master. Michael, do you have any comments or the things that were not clear during the Master Saib speech?
No direct comments. That last little bit, having all the features presented, it's interesting. I don't know. I'm internalizing a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So no direct comment.
Got it. Well, as for me, everything was clear, but I am already familiar with the stuff that is happening. And that is why I was asking you. And also, you know, I'm kind of used to listen Russian English, and I understand everything clearly, which might not be the case for everybody, but already we got the answer from you. Thank you. Okay, guys. So, does anyone have any questions to Master Saib according to his 3 points that he was presenting to us? Do not go far from it. Community? No?
Actually, everyone allowed to speak here? Have you checked?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great.
As I see, everybody is able to speak, and also we have Artyom, who is online and is watching what's happening here, and in case of any problems, he can adjust. Okay, so no questions from me to Master Saib, no questions to Master Saib from others. Maybe now, maybe later they will appear, and we can, I think, move further. Kirill, you want to say something?
Oh, no, not really. I just forgot to mute myself, probably. Sorry.
Yep, thank you.
Actually,
okay, guys. Yep. Leniva?
Yep. Hello, everybody. So recently we are working on Sense to the robot, and I'm very excited to show the first demo of it. Let me share the screen. Like, this is the already working demo. All right. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. So we can follow to the Sense from the robot page. And here it is. Behold. So this is the working demo of the Sense. In this implementation, we are ready to show updates from neurons, as well as updates from some particles, which is working not really as it should for now, but it's a very first demo. So let's just go and look for some conversations. So here it is, conversation with Czeslaw. Hello. Here we're talking using the teleport and the messaging system in teleport. And we can see messages which we send to each other. Oh, sorry. What's that? Oops. Something happened. Why? Yeah, okay. something happened. Guys, okay.
It's
So
not
this
transaction.
just sent to me. Sorry?
We didn't filter transaction, so now they that only my and your transaction. So
All right,
just don't worry, it will be
okay.
fixed.
A little
but
glitches.
it's clear. There is possible to see the text and then whatever the stuff.
Yep.
So it's okay, I guess.
So here's the text we sent to each other, and should be also available like sending particles. This is not rendering right now, but here should be a picture. And then we can test. This is my account. I sent to myself something to test. And so the particle. Now we can see this exact particle. It's the rendering on the top right now. How it should work. When we will be able to follow any particle, it will appear here on the left side of the sense, and we can see all updates on this particle by people who posting something like making incoming links or outgoing links as well. And we can see here all updates by this particle. How you can see here the name of the neuron, the one line of the message, and the token which coming, as well as amount of new messages. Cyber Academy. Oh yeah, it's all messages right now. So a little bit glitching, but I think you can already catch the point. Here's the filters by particles and by neurons. As you can see all. So the current state is like that. I think it's pretty clear.
Stepan, I guess you should also mention that this communication, it looked like pretty much like a chat in Telegram or Discord, whatever, like a normal chat. But you should mention that it's kind of a public, so nobody would understand you incorrectly that it's kind of a private or wherever. So it's all visible to everybody, pretty much.
Correct. Thank you. Yeah, it's all public because we're using Mimo messages right now, and it will work like if you going to, I don't know how it works like right now, but let's just check it. There's a sense of another person. It's still my sense right now. Yeah, so you can see the person's this neuron sense as well as yours. So it's all public. Yep. At the moment. Yep. So also I would like to thank Design working on backend, hardly working on backend because it's a huge thing, really. And Czeslaw Hepelo on the front end. Guys, you are awesome. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Ilniva, Czeslaw, great work. Looks amazing. Really promising and really delighting to check. I like it a lot.
It will be better. Also, Max,
Like that confidence.
Maxim is helping us.
Max, very good. I like it. Thank you. Looks very good. Guys, somebody from the team also wants to share some updates on their work since the previous community call or since all overtime. Anybody?
I don't have any. Occasionally, we've been just working on improving the stability of the backend of the APIs for for all these new features to work great when deployed. So not much on my side.
Okay, thank you. Serge?
We have finalized a poll of a delegation program, and if you are a delegator, you can check delegations from Cyber Congress on your validator. That's all from me.
Oh, thank you so much, Sergey. By any chance, maybe you, well, I don't know if it is possible and if it is a priority, but it would be great next time or some other day just to demonstrate also some stats on what has changed. I think this information can be interesting for all the community, not only for validators, but what is happening under the hood. Because this dynamic, actually, I would try to describe what is happening, what Sergey was talking about. Cyber Congress, the main token holder of the Bostrom network now, of the main token holder of liquid tokens, and as a token holder, Cyber Congress can delegate those tokens to different validators, and we have a program that chooses or is calculated by public rules how many delegations different delegators will have according to their grades, according to their activities. There is a grade system. Every validator is evaluated by different metrics, and validators can optimize the stake that they receive from the main token holder, Cyber Congress, to them. And of course, because of that, they will receive the different number of different amount of what is the name? Different number of как называются награды, которые дают? Rewards. The number of rewards that validators receive for their work. If anybody can make my speech more precise or make additions to what I said, please do.
Yes, CyberProfit, I want to correct you a bit. Cyber Congress is not the main token holder, it's major token holder. It's big difference behind that, because like I think the main is like when you can control validator set, for example, in case of Solana Foundation, have 40% of tokens, which essentially is able in BFT environment to block any transaction if they would. Cyber Congress currently control a bit less than 12% of boot tokens, which doesn't allow Cyber Congress actually to do any stuff related to consensus, such as blocking transactions, etc. And Cyber Congress strategy currently is consists of two programs. First program is a delegation program, which actually a key program which allow us to be the most. I must be bold in saying that, but if you analyze like things like Nakamoto coefficient and stake stuff, related stuff, we are probably the most decentralized network currently in whole Cosmos ecosystem, and by means of statistical analysis. Because of this program, because we have very balanced way to evaluate both involvement and decentralizations. Also, we support long tail. Because we support the long tail of validators, we are able to sustain very decentralized network currently. You even can compare it with Cosmos Hub and Celestia and find out that actually we have very good amount of like it's around 11 validators, 10 validators for 33%, and very good Nakamoto coefficient. So that is one program we manage. And the second one is the support of teams involved in development. We actually, what we do, we actually distribute all. That's very important. That all rewards that currently Cyber Congress have from staking, from this delegation program, we distribute to the teams, to 5 teams currently. And this process is also transparent. You can find this Google spreadsheet table where we compute and publish all results. And this allows us to be sustainable without external dependencies on any financials. So thank you everyone who support this program, who use and work for this program. It's currently it's 5 teams with 15 members. So I want to point out that actually this major stake, not main stake, but major stake, is currently is being used for ultimate quality of network development without any cash outs, without any shady deals, etc. So yeah.
Thank you, Master. Well, definitely, the thing is very unique, as far as I know, between the blockchains. And yeah, this is why Bostrom is cool. One more reason why Bostrom is cool. Okay, guys. Anybody else want to share their updates about their work in the previous weeks? Yep. So I can show you guys the Karma updated that I just updated during the call, and we can see now that Cyber Academy is on the first place by its Karma, and its Karma is 7 times bigger. 7 times, 8 times, 7 times bigger than the next user, which is Mike Literos. I don't know who is it, but here's some people. So this is the table with the Karma. Though I do not like this this measure, but
well, worth to mention, it's good that we see the names. We don't know who is those people in top.
Yeah. can see here, Joy, for example.
Actually,
Okay.
Great sign of growing.
Okay, community, do you have any questions, anybody?
I do. Can I throw a
Please.
question?
Please.
Yeah. In past, there was a proposal that only those who have 420 gigabits can make a new proposal, and now I can see that in CNATE on a CAI site, any like banana head guy can just post any kind of proposal. Can you please clear that out? Because since anyone can make any kind of proposal, so why we well, I know. I mean, like, doesn't it need to have like 420 gigabits to create a proposal? So it's like it should be like a minimum threshold, no?
No.
Well, let me answer.
Okay.
All right. So actually, the way to create the proposal is not tied to any specific amount of token. This 420 gigabits is necessary to transfer the proposal from deposit stage to the voting stage. So as you can notice, all of those dumb props that recently has been created still sitting in deposit period. So that means that nobody can vote for them. And actually, this is the threshold which prevents trash getting on chain. So those will just sit there until the deposit period is expired, and then will clear out themselves, because I guess nobody will deposit to them that much tokens.
But what happened if someone will start to deposit to those proposals? So they just send out
well,
boots, and what happens with those boots? I mean, if someone will create a really valuable proposal without having those 420 gigabits.
So yeah, this is actually the design whole. If you have a valuable idea, some cool stuff you're willing to propose, you are open to go and do this without having like that much tokens. You just need to have enough to do that transaction. And then if somebody will see and will to support this prop, he could support you with the deposit. But however, if the proposal will come up to the voting stage and grab this 420 gigs of deposit, after the voting has been ended, all those will be returned back to depositors. So it's not like that you're depositing and just giving these tokens to somebody. Nope, they will just stay there unless the proposal is voted with with veto completely. So like, I don't know, somebody will propose to burn half of supply or whatever the sheet, and somehow this get to the chain. Somebody will deposit to this 420 gigs, and all the chain will vote no with veto. So only in this case, those deposit tokens will go to community pool, as far as I remember, and not back to their depositors. But otherwise, if proposal was voted no or yes, whatever, or just hasn't been voted enough, not quorum met, so you will just get returned back. So it's pretty common that like we have this threshold of proposal getting to this really active state is really high comparing to the rest of the chains. And as you probably saw, there is still a lot of scam proposals coming up to Cosmos, to all the chains across the Cosmos, like with this Terra drop or whatever. But most of them are not getting to this voting phase, so it's kind of a safe. I don't know. We probably should think maybe within a team to have those deposit proposals outlined somehow, so it would not like misunderstood, misguess someone to think that those are already active.
We will certainly fix will in the next iteration of Senat app, but it will not happen soon because voting currently functionality is not our priority. It's well supported, it kind of works, and it's not. It will not involve any significant flow of users. So yeah, like it's not a good thing, but we can like live with that for a while. Yeah, and eventually we will add like burn deposit, minimum amount of burn deposit, kind of like it could be several dollars, maybe like 1 gigabyte, maybe like less. But for any proposal, even to get into deposit period, I think like the good mechanism is that you must pay something in order to protect from spam. But this feature is also not on our like close roadmap. So yeah.
Okay. But if I have 420 gigabytes, so I can just throw any kind of infinite amount of proposals and wait until those be accepted or denied, right? So I
Yes.
mean, like, okay,
Yes.
okay.
But
you
not
need
many
to be
neurons.
careful. Yeah, if you'll throw some shit like really shitty stuff, and will pay your own 420 gigs to get it to voting, and if it will get voted like as no with veto, so you will have less tokens by 420
Yeah, I will lose
than you had
my
before.
total. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess. Okay.
Thank you for the question, Mangalore. Any more questions?
My pussy, I'm missing it. When it's gonna be active again?
Well, actually, there is already. I do not remember is it public or not, but recently I saw like a web UI for Cyber Pussy somewhere. Guys, can somebody add something, tell something about that?
Yes, I can tell that I blocked currently deployment of this app because it doesn't handle, like the pull request is really nice. Thanks, Sergey, for submitting it, but currently it's in work. Korzovnik Dima working with pull request in order to bring better valuation in H, not in LP, yeah, but in H, because this is actually a big source of confusion valuation. So it must be consistent in H, like hydrogen is like our gaming currency. So all apps which we produce must have consistent valuation. It takes some time to implement this valuation because it's like across the app, yeah. But yeah, once it will be done, I think you will have everyone will have Pussy.cyber.ai for interacting with Pussy. Yes, soon.
Thank you, Master Seb. So we are working on it. The team is working on it. Any more questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Please.
Related to the reward claiming for the airdrop. You said you had what's the word I'm looking for? You changed it so it automatically stakes the random validator. What kind of went into that decision-making process? Because you're trying to stop the abundant selling of boot, and this definitely stops it. But why was this the solution you chose, Dima? I guess it's fast.
Well, it's was the only solution which we are able to implement like right now. Yeah, random
Yeah.
validator, because we don't want to decide for user, and it's fair to just stake on random validators, and it's secure because volume of tokens are actually not so substantial in accordance to consensus threshold. So anyway, you can afterwards you can choose the delegate you want actually, but anyway, random validator is more fair than any strategy we could choose, because like we considered to give the opportunity to choose validator, but during gift claim it distracts so much and it add additional step, and I think this could break the funnel, so we just decide to make it as dumb as possible. So you can go to portal, you can prove your address from Ethereum or Cosmos, and if you have gifts, you just have 4 tokens immediately on your balance, which is staked boot, with random validator, which is some amount of hydrogen, which is vested in case of investment. And amperes and volts also available for using. And if your cyber gift is not big enough for investment, which will be, I don't think, which will be more than 20% of cases, my expectation current. Your age just will be swapped to amperes and volts, and you will have not 4 tokens on the balance, but 3 tokens on the balance, which will, turn all the economical mechanics like for valuing, for understanding this, like actually what we want to give for new coming users. Yeah, we never wanted to give them boot. We wanted to find a way to build a good mechanism for minting amperes and volts and give them ability to get an amperes and volts. But what happened is actually that 98% even don't know what we have additional opportunities, and no matter what I did in user interface and buttons and just don't work. They come for airdrop and like push sell and go out, and that's like how actually we used to use, and we want to stop it for sure. It's not the intention of design.
But why are you so sure that claiming airdrops dump the price? Because I see another reason actually, that those crazy incentives on Osmosis, that's what causes the price dump. Because people got up to 2 to 3% per day in like first 5 days. So I was the one actually also.
Well, it could be.
And Bitcoin boot, they got like a crazy APR actually, and still now they have.
I agree partially with you. That could be a source of additional, pressure on the price, but the numbers say that actually incentives on Osmosis are not comparable with what farmers get. So in case of incentives, up to the point of the price fall, we got maximum half of teraboot for incentives, and farmers get something around like 15, 20 teraboot. So your perception is not correct, I bet.
Well, and if that was true, we'd be seeing a spike in liquidity overall on Osmosis. That'd be a larger liquidity pool, that'd be nice. That's what those incentives are for. But wait, another quick question relating back to the rewards. And a comment. It's actually nice that you chose a random validator because that kind of creates a larger Nakamoto coefficient and keeps the network relatively, what's the word I'm looking for? Even, as opposed to consensus. But so the claim and the random staking, is that hydrogen or is it automatically investmented? I don't think I heard you correctly when you answered.
Okay, I will repeat, Michael. The mechanics is the following. So once you claim boot, claim boot. So we have two-step processes, claim and release. Once you claim, like some part of claim is being automatically released. Yes. This percent is defined by amount of proven addresses. And currently this is from the target, from 100,000. And currently is around 30%. Yes, something around 30%, a bit more. So 30% you take during claim. They are not released. 70% were not released. Like around 30% currently is being released immediately. And what's being released is automatically staked. Yes, in the same transaction, atomically on the random validator. In the moment they are staked, the user get hydrogen. Yeah. Yes, and when you have two branches of decision, yeah, if amount of hydrogen the user get is enough to investment, so they will be investmented for like 2 years at least. Yeah. And get appropriate amount of ampere and volts, which are also locked for this amount of period. So basically, I want to make it clear that since we implement this thing, everyone who claim will not have their boot in the several years, unless they will be able to buy some hydrogen back from the market and unstake it. That is the first branch of decision. The second branch of decision is if your claim is not big enough for having in this lien, because we have some threshold on the minimum amount of investmented tokens. So in the same transaction, the hydrogen the user get will be swapped to ampere and volts, effectively raising the price for ampere and volts. So that's the mechanism. We lock everyone who came and claimed the gift. You can get out your tokens if you invest something to buy some hydrogen and then stake it in 42 days. If you not wish to, you can wait several years and then get your boot dumped. But during this time, you can have rewards. You can use your energy. So these basic mechanics we will certainly keep like improve in this direction. We will keep improvements because we still have a lot of tokens which sits in the Cyber gift contract. I want to make it clear that we will not move from this way. Why? Because it's still the only marketing tool for us. Automated marketing. We invested in this marketing tool very heavily. 2 times it shows us that it could provide really cool network effects. Just it must be balanced out. The thing we actually consider during development of this, we did consider to lock like that, but decided to see what happens if we give more freedom. That doesn't work. We now see. So yeah, we will keep the strategy of using this marketing tool for the audience at this particular point of time, remember, the 5th of November, we will never consider to change this. So that's really important because I got several questions. Let's start some off. Come on, we heavily invested. This is a good marketing tool. Also, it measures a lot of really interesting stuff. And the most important thing that it maps social graph from Interchain and Ethereum networks into one consistent cyber graph automatically. That feature of this mechanism has not been just yet understood and discovered, but come on, guys, our cyber graph currently hold all social connections with proofs in different networks, which is like, I think it's really cool. And once we will be able to scale it and make it more reliable and more like value retentive, it will be superpower. And it will, because I'm going to deploy soon. So we will eventually have almost zero negative price affection from the gift. The only thing we will have is potential investment in hydrogen for those who want to cash out, and we will have more involvement, and we have more better validator set. Like no actually. Usually when you consider such decision, you have some trade-offs. I don't see any trade-offs here.
Yep, and
Michael, did I answer your question?
You did, and I definitely could see a lot of positive network effects and how it can like really retain. It kind of forces users in a way. She like consider using the network instead of just dumping tokens.
Yes, by your action of claiming, you anyway put some positive information to the system, and actually you can't negatively affect the efforts of the community, because what happened to us recently is that 20 guys just destroyed the all that effort, like for recent 6 months of work, what all community were doing, and that must not be the case with the new changes.
But they will be able to destroy it when the tokens will be released, no?
I guess perhaps. But I think even on a small level, because the hydrogen is automatically invested, it creates demand, supply, and maybe even demand for amperes and volts, which could have a downstream positive effect on the boot price if there's demand for amperes and volts, because it's like it creates like a future market for boot. Maybe.
Exactly. Because the positive effect is actually that you will not have a lot of demand when on the first claim, but on any other releases, because the amount to release will be small, and most releases will not be enough to investment this. So basically, you will have continuous and growing demand on amperes and volts, which is like the most important problem we want to solve in our project.
For sure. It creates that demand, and it creates more friction to eventually even get boot to dump, which makes boot more rock solid, and then the amperes volt market starts moving. If people want to dump amperes and volts, they can, but then some people will consider actually using it, which is probably more than what we have now. So it probably is a good idea. Let's see. It's an experiment, right? So cool.
And guys, one more thing to mention about this random stake is that you should be able to redelegate it to whoever you would like right after you get this thing staked. First, the redelegation is not like tied to this 42 unbonding days in any way. So for people not to be too much concerned about this randomness of the process, they would be able to adjust it easily by just redelegating. It would not break any rest of the part.
Although to be clear, having the random stake is also good for the healthiness, the robustness of the network at large. Although it would suck if you get slammed with like a 20% commission validator. I don't know which of you Boster validators are running 20%, but lower those numbers down maybe. I'm playing a little bit.
Yeah, it could, like this very interesting case that some validators actually could exploit this, yes, but that's really interesting part of the game, and I don't believe like the numbers will like expected numbers is not significant for affecting network security. Mm-hmm.
Really edge case. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Also, what I wanted to show is the cool application of CyberGraph. I really in love with the invention of Bostrom, which is CyberGraph. And CyberGraph now is represented here. We have on my screen the portion of the CyberGraph that were created, those cyberlinks, they were created by the Passport smart contract. And we can see here, because of the cyberlinks that were created, we can see here that a lot of small particles, so this now is on the screen, is just an example of the normal addresses of the citizens who were rightful, or were good. They claimed their airdrop, they proved several addresses, they created some unique avatar, uploaded this unique avatar, and it is written into their passport. And what we see here, these big anomalies of the neurons who claimed a lot of addresses, who proved a lot of addresses, and who got a big gift here. And we can see clearly on CyberGraph one of its applications. So we can see those bad actors who claim this by these big holes on our graph. I think it is cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's entirely beautiful, because actually this is a foundation for like future applications in terms of like trust measuring. And currently it's like seems that maybe it's spent, but in fact that allow to understand like the future superintelligence, the subnetworks in blockchain, in a leading blockchain and Ethereum, which like must not be trusted. And I think it's probably a very valuable information for like future communities. Beautiful.
Definitely.
Just to be clear, we're able to see this because this airdrop farmer connected the same Ethereum, Terra, Osmosis addresses to the Bostrom address, because he's using different Bostrom passports. So there's new Bostrom addresses, but he's tying the same MetaMask to it, correct?
Well, there are two groups of farmers. One group of farmers use one passport and just delete address and add new one. We have we identify at least 15 such farmers. And the other group of farmers who create new passports for just adding 8 addresses and continue to creating passports. So basically it's seen in like we have data set. I published it in some channels. I don't remember where, but yeah, it's seen that you have two groups, they behave differently, but anyway, it's like in the end, it's the same.
Bastards. Cool to visualize. Really cool to visualize.
That's okay. The game goes on. It makes the game interesting from my point of view. Okay, guys, any more questions?
Comment I should have said before, but the El Nivo display of the public teleport conversation was really beautiful. And I like the side scrolling features. It just looks like it's getting closer to being like a quick functional conversation embedded app. So nice.
Absolutely
Yeah, it's
agree.
beautiful. It's beautiful experiment because actually it's very strange that we have so many public blockchains and still yet we don't have any means of communications using these blockchains. That's very strange. And even in case of
Only hackers,
Ethereum,
only
yeah,
hackers like can post and use the messaging on Ethereum saying
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
claim their
yeah, yeah.
bounty.
Yeah. So eventually, I want to point out once we develop hub functionality to the point when we will be able to integrate Ethereum seamlessly. Yeah, it will be like cross-chain messaging app, and like the first stage is it's like just a public communication because it's simple, because it's actually very useful and cool. And the second stage will be, second phase will be to put some encryption into messages, which like on the receiver public keys could unencrypt. Yeah, when we will add more and more privacy, and eventually we hope it could become a like complete communication platform. But starting from public one, it's like I think it's simple and possible currently, and that's actually the product nobody have.
Actually, there's a lot of apps which allows to send encrypted messages in crypto, and the most famous one is called Status, which ICO happened in 2017, and now I know at least 2 on Solana, and at least 3 is coming up actually in this year.
Don't confuse ephemeral messaging with blockchain messaging. Status is based on Waku protocol. Yeah, it's use ephemeral messages that they don't guarantee delivery. I'm using Status since then, since 2017, and I would say that it's still not so convenient and reliable still. And now guys are thinking how to put some smart contracts into this mechanism because they must protect network from a lot of attack vectors such as bill attacks, etc. And yeah, blockchain mailing is different because blockchain mailing is actually allow you to guarantee storage and delivery of message. It's just coming, it's just embedded into the gas fee we pay. So.
What about the polyhedra, for example? And you can also send a message via Etherscan. Also. From one
yeah,
address
you can. Yeah. Of course you can. And like that's the point that you actually can message, and you, since the inception of Ethereum, could send message. In Cosmos also you could send message. Whoever read and how we read this. That's the point. So here we do have really convenient interface for messaging. Yeah, which is public.
You mean discoverable now on CBI, the one
yes,
which you can
now.
Oh, okay.
Not now on CBY, but the thing that Niva showed us during this presentation. It's a sense functionality which allow you to send messages currently in Bostrom, when in Cosmos networks, when we will go further. So it's just like it's a Telegram-like messenger, but public. using blockchain memos. Yeah.
You mean Bostrom blockchain? Or just a
currently it is like all around Bostrom blockchain, yes, but technically it's very simple to add any blockchain to the system, and we are building multi-chain applications. I mean, SciBI is not only like we not designed it to work only with Bostrom. It's just currently that, yeah, but it will be multi-chain anyway. All features we are now thinking on how to implement, we are thinking like in terms of interchain interactions.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I think we can stop our community call here, right?
Yeah, I guess we are just.
Can I ask for one more thing? Can I ask for one more thing? Maybe it's it would be a better idea to make one Twitter space and see how it goes. So there are a lot more audience in Twitter, and people like they like those Twitter spaces actually, and there are like I was on many of them already, and like sometimes it's even like around 500 to or 1,000 people on those Twitter spaces. So the project can have like more audience if you make one.
We already did try this once. We didn't like experience. It was early stage of development. Maybe we did fix some, but currently I don't even have Twitter account. So yeah, the community could, but I will not go there because they blocked me for a pussy in the avatar. So sorry guys, I am not into that shit.
Okay.
Discord will have some more people, but I guess for now this is what works. Our Discord's kind of growing from what it looks like.
Well, from my point of view, we need to try different things. We are now at very small numbers of users, and whatever can attract more users would be beneficial for all of us. And I think experimenting on this stage is an important part.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, actually. That's why I offered Twitter Spaces. So just to try something new, because usually here is like around 20 participants. Maximum I saw maybe 50 once. So that's only was the point.
We'll make a digital copy of Master Cyber and register them in Twitter and call to the space.
Yeah, I can pass you an account actually. So it costs around 50 cents for one account in Twitter. You can use it like once.
I will never pay Twitter for those they did. I will never.
I will make you a gift. Okay?
It's done. This platform is done for me.
Yeah, but since you make so much gifts for us, we can make a gift for you and give you just a Twitter account, so you can try it for once and then you can delete it or do whatever you want. Okay.
No.
No. Okay.
He won't accept it. Okay, and small announcement for Russian-speaking users. I recorded the video yesterday, introduction to Sci in Russian, and also I've just finished editing another video of how to install all the environment on Windows, how to install all the necessary things for using Sci from the very ground. Please watch, use, ask questions, and contribute. Thank you. So let's stop here.
Promo. All right. Thank you guys for attending, for questions.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.